that we had a meeting for, and not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just we had a very
that really needed to be mentioned.
That was ridiculous. That was childish, and Sabrina had to let it be known. Yeah, I don't really think that was necessary. She trying to laugh it off, but Sabrina's not feeling you saying that.
Now, Sabrina Ionescu quickly, swiftly, and in a hurry, kind of tried to stop Kelsey Plum from taking these little shots, but she didn't care.
Kelsey dumb strike.
Sabrina Ionescu's eye roll just exposed the most toxic moment in WNBA history. The 2025 All-Star Game post-game press conference turned into an absolute disaster when Plum oddly singled out Team Caitlin Clark for not being very present in Saturday morning's meeting, when the players were planning their shirt demonstration, saying 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. The immediate reaction from Sabrina, sitting right next to her, was pure television gold. She made a bemused expression and then rolled her eyes before sarcastically replying, "That really needed to be mentioned," which elicited awkward chuckles from the room.
Sabrina Ionescu did not like this shit, by the way.
And you can just see, even with the way Sabrina Ionescu's reacting, she's like, what did you just...
Sabrina Ionescu, right there, right next to her. You have no shame. This woman's just trashy, dog. Like, Kelsey Plum is trashy, bro. That's the reason why Darren Waller left her. Smart man, by the way, because his salary was pretty nice when he signed.
The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. And Ionescu's facial expression said everything about how completely unnecessary and inappropriate Plum's comment was, especially considering Clark was at home nursing a groin injury and couldn't even defend herself from this unprovoked attack. But what happened next proves Caitlin Clark is operating on a completely different level than her petty competitors. Because instead of engaging in public drama, she waited for the perfect moment to deliver the most savage response possible. And if you want to see more coverage of this unfolding WNBA chaos, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop Team Sabrina in the comments if you saw that epic eye roll.
Training, bro. Like, I hate to see y'all really need media training. This was so unnecessary. And then you gonna take shots after that trash game y'all displayed?
Saturday's WNBA All-Star Game was all about the players, with every athlete who made the trip to Indianapolis putting on united front in the face of the union's ongoing collective bargaining agreement negotiations with the league. Players wore "Pay Us What You Owe Us" t-shirts ahead of the All-Star Game tip-off to demonstrate solidarity for better compensation and working conditions. The coordinated effort was supposed to show that all WNBA players were standing together, regardless of individual rivalries or team affiliations. And initially, the message seemed powerful, as fans and media focused on the players coming together for a common cause rather than the usual controversies that plague the league. Plum explained that it was a very powerful moment. As players, we didn't know that was going to happen. It was a genuine surprise that was determined that morning during a meeting we had specifically for this purpose. But then she completely destroyed the unity narrative by calling out Team Clark members for not being present at the planning meeting.
Shirts read, "Pay us what you owe us." And of course, everybody clowned that.
You said you wanted to look united, right? You wanted to make it look like y'all all were on one accord. You wanted to make it look like the advocacy was there between you all. And you come out and say 0 members of Team Caitlin Clark was there. How do you think that make y'all look now?
She joined you guys to stand as a one united front, and then you go and take shots at her when she's responsible for more than 55% of the business? Are you crazy? Have you lost your day?
The irony is absolutely stunning. You have players demanding more money while simultaneously creating drama around the person who is single-handedly responsible for bringing the revenue that could make those salary increases possible in the first place. Sabrina Ionescu's reaction was the highlight of the entire press conference and honestly saved the situation from being even more embarrassing than it already was. Her immediate response showed that at least one player understood how ridiculous Plum's comment sounded. The New York Liberty star appeared visibly uncomfortable as Plum took a subtle jab at Caitlin Clark and her All-Star teammates. And you could see the exact moment she realized her teammate had just made a massive mistake by throwing shade at players who weren't even there to defend themselves.
No, your league doesn't make a profit. And the only hopes of it making a profit is that lady right there on my screen.
Y'all only got close to the green for the first time ever because of Caitlin Clark's there.
You tried to get them more money last year behind the scenes. They still didn't like you. You came out and spoke out for black women and black women athletes, especially black women basketball players. They still don't like it. Don't matter what you do. The peers of the WNBA do not mess with you. It just is what it is.
But Caitlin Clark didn't have to do that. She didn't have to wear the shirt or anything, but she did it out of solidarity and good faith to help support the WNBA and the other players. What do? You discredit her and discredit everybody on her.
Ionescu had been selected to Team Clark before Clark's injury withdrawal, so she clearly felt some loyalty to the absent superstar. That made Plum's comment even more inappropriate, since it was essentially criticizing her own teammates' decision-making. The fact that Ionescu called out Plum's comment in real time, with such perfect sarcasm, shows she has more maturity and professionalism than the veteran players sitting right next to her. And her eye roll became an instant meme that perfectly captured how everyone felt about this unnecessary drama. But Caitlin Clark's response to the whole situation proves why she's operating on a completely different level than the players trying to tear her down. Because instead of getting into a public feud, she waited for the perfect opportunity to deliver the most savage comeback possible. Clark replied to a Kelsey Plum Instagram post with this message: "Thank you for the Nike ad." Plum is an Under Armour athlete, while Clark is sponsored by Nike, which turned Plum's own social media post into free advertising for her rival's brand. The 6-word response was absolutely brilliant, subtle enough to fly under the radar of casual observers, but devastating enough that anyone who understood the context immediately recognized the level of disrespect Clark just delivered. This is exactly the kind of strategic thinking that separates superstars from role players. Clark managed to get the last word without stooping to the petty level of public drama that Plum initiated at the press conference.
Are insufferable. They don't deserve more money. They don't get any ratings outside of Caitlin Clark. They openly disrespect her. They don't deserve Caitlin Clark. They don't deserve attention. They don't deserve a league.
Caitlin Clark, I want her to clap back so bad. She needs to clap back, man. Stop being nice. Stop doing people favors. Stop trying to help a sister out. Stop doing all that stuff, bro. These are some ungrateful hyenas.
Part of me just does wish you would be like, look, man, I'm tired of y'all disrespecting. I'm tired of y'all hating and taking shots. Go figure this out on your own. Let me see y'all get a deal done without me, without my numbers, without my fans who y'all all claim was racist. Y'all called all of her fans racist, but you want to use the numbers supported by those same racist fans. You want to use those numbers to try to...
The response from NBA legends has been swift and brutal toward Kelsey Plum. Michael Jordan's former Chicago Bulls teammate candidly weighed in on Plum's petty shot at Caitlin Clark during All-Star Weekend. And when 3-time NBA champions are calling out your behavior, that should be a massive wake-up call that you made a serious mistake. These are respected voices in basketball who understand the importance of supporting your league's biggest stars rather than tearing them down, and they are not impressed with what they witnessed during the All-Star game. The fact that established NBA players are weighing in on WNBA drama shows just how much attention Clark brings to women's basketball, and how her treatment by certain players is being noticed by the broader basketball community. That only makes Plum's comments look more ridiculous in hindsight. The business reality makes this entire situation even more absurd when you look at Caitlin Clark's actual impact on WNBA revenue and attendance. Because despite her absence, Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis was still packed to the rafters. But reports indicate that Clark's absence caused ticket prices to drop by more than 50%.
Shot like this at the player that's the only reason you're in a position to ask for more money is crazy, and that's a fact.
Them relying so heavily on Caitlin Clark, one player, to generate their money, it's going to take some time, man, to get y'all those $200, $300 million contracts, bro. It just is. This isn't like a one and done thing that's going to take, you know what I'm saying, a year or two. Y'all got to show proven years of winning. And the way y'all attacking Caitlin Clark, beating her up, battering her, I don't know what the future even look like for y'all with viewership and entertainment.
Let's be serious here. Caitlin Clark is the one bringing in the numbers. We watched the ticket prices drop 50% when Caitlin Clark was announced that she will not be participating due to her injury. The ticket prices dropped by 50% for an all-star game. That should tell y'all other players, you're not as popping as you think you are.
Which tells you everything about who the real draw is for this league. Television ratings for games featuring Clark have consistently been the highest in WNBA history, and merchandise sales have skyrocketed wherever she plays, which means she is directly responsible for the increased revenue that allows the league to even consider paying players more money. The "pay us what you owe us" shirts are essentially asking for compensation that would not be possible without the massive boost in popularity and revenue that Clark has brought to the WNBA. So taking shots at her while wearing those shirts is the definition of biting the hand that feeds you. This controversy exposes serious cultural problems within the WNBA that go far beyond just compensation and working conditions, because you cannot build a successful professional sports league when your players are more focused on drama than promoting the sport itself. Caitlin Clark has brought more mainstream attention to women's basketball than any player in recent history. Yet, instead of embracing that success and using it to elevate everyone, certain players seem determined to create unnecessary controversy around their biggest star, for reasons that make absolutely no sense from a business or competitive standpoint. The contrast between Clark's mature response to this situation and the high school-level drama from certain veterans speaks volumes about who the real professionals are in this league, and why some players deserve the spotlight while others are stuck throwing shade from the sidelines. What makes this situation even more ridiculous is that this latest drama perfectly captures the ongoing toxic pattern that has plagued the WNBA all season long, where certain players seem more interested in creating controversy around Caitlin Clark than celebrating the unprecedented success she has brought to their league. The Kelsey Plum press conference incident is just the most recent example of how some WNBA veterans continue to find subtle ways to diminish Clark's impact and importance, even when she is literally sitting at home injured and unable to defend herself from these unprovoked attacks. This systematic effort by certain players to undermine their biggest star is absolutely counterproductive when you consider that Clark's success directly translates to better opportunities and compensation for everyone else in the WNBA. Yet they continue to bite the hand that feeds them. What makes this even more embarrassing for the league is that Clark's treatment by her peers has become a national story that reflects poorly on women's basketball as a whole. Because when NBA legends and sports commentators are publicly calling out WNBA players for their petty behavior toward their own superstar, it creates negative headlines that overshadow any positive momentum the league might be building. Social media erupted when the 9th-place ranking was revealed, with fans calling the players laughable, and the backlash was so severe that it dominated sports talk shows and Twitter discussions for weeks leading up to the game. The fact that WNBA players created their own controversy through their voting choices, and then doubled down with Plum's press conference comments, shows a complete lack of awareness about how their actions impact the league's public image and business prospects. But the most revealing part of this whole situation is how it exposes the fundamental disconnect between what WNBA players think they deserve and the reality of what actually drives revenue and fan interest in their sport. Clark has faced multiple controversial incidents this season, including being pushed to the ground by Marina Mabrey and hit in the eye by J.C. Sheldon. Yet, she continues to handle every situation with professionalism and grace. While certain veterans create unnecessary drama and controversy, the WNBA even had to admit referees were wrong not to eject Mabrey after she shockingly pushed Clark to the ground, showing that even the officials are struggling to protect the league's biggest star from the toxic behavior of other players who seem determined to test how far they can go before facing real consequences. The physical incidents, combined with the voting controversy and now Plum's press conference comments, create a clear picture of a league where certain players are actively hostile toward the person responsible for their increased visibility and earning potential. WNBA officiating has faced increased scrutiny heading into the All-Star break, partly because of how these situations involving Clark have been handled. The league now finds itself in the awkward position of having to protect its biggest star from its own players, rather than from opposing teams in competitive situations. This is not normal behavior in professional sports. Typically, when a league has a transcendent talent who brings massive attention and revenue, everyone rallies around that person to maximize the benefits for the entire organization, rather than trying to tear them down out of petty jealousy. The most frustrating aspect of this entire mess is that Caitlin Clark has done absolutely nothing to deserve this level of hostility and disrespect from her peers. She has been nothing but humble and professional throughout her rookie season, despite facing unprecedented pressure and scrutiny. Clark even supported the WNBA's investigation into racially charged comments from fans, showing that she cares about protecting her fellow players and maintaining a positive environment for everyone in the league. Yet she continues to face backlash and subtle attacks from the very people she is trying to help succeed. The contrast between her mature leadership and the petty behavior from certain veterans makes it obvious who the real professional is in these situations, and why some players deserve the spotlight while others are stuck creating drama from the sidelines. This pattern of behavior toward Clark also raises serious questions about whether the WNBA has a systemic culture problem that goes beyond individual personality conflicts. Because when multiple players across different teams consistently show disrespect toward their biggest star, it suggests there might be deeper issues within the league's player community. The league has had to investigate hateful fan comments, deal with officiating controversies, and manage internal drama between players, all of which create a toxic environment that makes it difficult for the WNBA to build the kind of positive brand image necessary to attract mainstream sponsors and media partners. Professional sports leagues are supposed to showcase their best talent and create compelling storylines that draw fans. Instead, the WNBA finds itself constantly managing controversies and negative headlines that overshadow the actual basketball being played on the court. The business implications of this dysfunctional culture become even more obvious when you consider that Clark's impact on league revenue and popularity should be making everyone in the WNBA more money. Yet certain players seem determined to create controversy around the very person responsible for their improved financial prospects. Despite not being able to play in the All-Star game, Clark maintained her competitive fire and continued to support the league, even while dealing with injury and unnecessary drama from her peers, which shows a level of professionalism that should be the standard for everyone in the WNBA, rather than the exception. The fact that she continues to handle these situations with grace while other players create problems speaks volumes about who deserves to be the face of women's basketball, and who is actively holding the sport back from reaching its full potential. The most tragic part of this entire mess is that what should have been a celebration of WNBA unity and collective bargaining power turned into yet another example of petty jealousy overshadowing the actual important issues these players are trying to address. Clark was at home recovering from an injury that prevented her from participating in her home All-Star game, while her peers used her absence as an opportunity to create drama and take unprovoked shots that only hurt the league's reputation and marketability. The irony is impossible to ignore. The very players demanding more money through their shirt demonstration are actively damaging their own negotiating position by engaging in behavior that makes the WNBA look unprofessional and dysfunctional to casual fans and potential sponsors, who might otherwise be willing to invest more money in women's basketball.